24.
Seahawks at Falcons.
The Seahawks defense is now officially healthy. Byron Murphy, the great defensive tackle from Texas, will play. Boyd Mafi will play. So their defense, they got a banged-up corner. One practiced, one didn't. But their three-game losing streak has come against teams like the Lions and the Niners. Okay, they're a good team, potentially. Remember, their offense has the highest passing rate in the league. Can they throw against Atlanta? Of course they can, because Atlanta has no pass rush. The Falcons are on pace to have the lowest sack rate, second lowest sack rate in league history. So Seattle's defensive front, Mike McDonald has all the bigs up front defensively. Geno Smith will have time to throw, and I'm getting 3 points. Remember, I like Atlanta. I do. But if you look at them, a couple of their wins have been over the Saints. They're dead. And the Panthers, worse. I think the value is on a healthier Seattle team on the road here. Seahawks upset the Falcons 27-24.
Okay, let's talk about this. First off, it's not really fair to say that the Falcons win over the Saints is because they're dead. They're dead now. They weren't. You actually faced Derek Carr and a healthier team. I mean, I understand if you want to say that they weren't at their peak powers like they were in the first couple of weeks. I understand that, but they were obviously a significantly better team than what they are right now. Okay, so like let's, we didn't say that about the Bucs win over the Saints, right? So let's be careful with that. But this is also another show me who you are game for the Falcons right now. It's pretty cool. Now that I'm kind of going through all the games that are scheduled this week, I see a lot of barometer games, right? Who are you right now? Where do you stand, right? What type of team are you? Are you a team that can overcome adversity? Are you a team that can get a win and a convincing win when you're supposed to? Can you come from behind? Whatever it may be. And that's where I see the Falcons right now, because the Falcons should have no business losing this game. No business. You're either a true top contender and going to win the division, or you're not. This is a game. I understand that the Seahawks are maybe not as injured as they were maybe a couple weeks ago or so, maybe like versus like when they played the Lions or even the 49ers. But this is a game, because I think the Seahawks were kind of, their stock was around. Because you want to talk about what teams got wins, look at who the Seahawks beat, right? I mean, they were beating teams like the Panthers, taking advantage of a rookie Bo Nix in his first game of this, it's first game I think it was, or second game of the season, right? Those wins aren't impressive. So let's, again, if we're gonna pick apart one team's wins and losses, then we got to pick apart another team's wins and losses. And I'm not saying that the Seahawks are this bad, awful team. I'm not saying that at all. But again, the way how this season is supposed to unfold for the Falcons is for them to be better than a team like the Seahawks, right? That's why you went out and got Kirk Cousins. That's why you're making the decisions that you've made. The run game has been awesome for the Falcons, which I made in a video recently. As Dan Orlovsky highlighted, the Atlanta Falcons have one of the most fun and best and dominant run games in the NFL. And I kind of talked about how I would love to see them just double, triple down on that, really just go all in on that and try to stretch it even more than what it is. Because I think they're just behind the Ravens right now in terms of run game. And I think that the Falcons here, right, if they lose this game, and it's not devastating. Of course, you can always lose a game. Again, I'm not saying that the Seattle Seahawks are this awful team. But if you lose here, to me, what it signals to me is that the Falcons are a toss-up to win the division and a toss-up to make the playoffs. Right? They lose to the Seahawks, well, then I'm like, I don't know if if they don't win the division, I don't know if they're going to even win the wild card. Right? That would make me suspicious. Also, even if they make the playoffs, it would make me suspicious of should you really fear facing this team? Or out of all the playoff teams, are you going to be like, oh, I hope we draw the Falcons? Right? That's who you want to play. But if you beat the Seahawks here convincingly, take care of business, and you don't lose 27-24, it's the Falcons. They're in the driver's seat to win the division. They're not a team that you want to face in the playoffs. It's going to be hard to stop that run in January, right? Like that's what you're going to see. Kirk Cousins is on one right now. They got everyone involved. Pitts is looking like he's supposed to, right? Like all these things. that's to me is what at stake. Like at this point on week 7, week 8, week 9 and onward, it's like you're looking to a pretty much signal who you are, right? Losing to the team like the Seahawks in week 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, right? You can justify, hey, we're figuring stuff out. Kirk Cousins getting healthy. We're establishing this run game, right? Like we have a lot of moving parts, new coordinator, how I explained away the Steelers versus Falcons game. Like you can make sense of that. But now it's like the Falcons are like, all right, let's show who we are right now. And again, I understand that the Falcons aren't even 100% healthy. I get that. But again, this is where you establish who you are as a team, how deep you are, how resilient you are. This is a game to win. This is a game to win. And so it's interesting that Colin is seeing an upset. And yeah, I think a win for the Falcons over the Seahawks signals to me that they are a legitimate contender and should even be favored to win the division. And versus if they lose here, it's going to be like, yeah, they can definitely still fight for the division as of right now, presently constructed, or as they're playing right now. Not the scariest team, not the most intimidating team, still a team nonetheless. Still not like an easy walk in the park win, but like, hey, if we happen to face them in the playoffs, sounds pretty good to me, right? So that's what I'm looking for in both these games. The only way that would be the opposite of what I'm saying, or would, prove that statement to be wrong, is if the Falcons and the Seahawks both ball out, right? And Geno Smith is just balling, right? People the whole time, they're like, wow, Geno Smith is playing like a top 5 quarterback right now. Can you believe how far this kid has come? He was barely hanging on to the league, and now look at him. I mean, you could make the argument that he's a top MVP candidate, right? Like if he has one of those games, and it's not just because the Falcons defense is just a joke in that game, that I'm always okay when a quarterback just gets on one, right? When you, especially like a quarterback like a Geno or a Baker even, right? Any of these other quarterbacks who you're not expecting them to be top level, but they have a game where they just ball out and they're perfect. And it's not just because the Falcons or the other team is just like, blown coverages, missed tackles, whatever it may be. It's just they're on one. I'm more open to that, but anything shy of that, which I'll just leave that door cracked open ever so slightly, the Falcons should win this game. And unless they're just not as good as originally anticipated. So we will find out. We will definitely find out. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Atlanta Falcons and Colin picking the Seattle Seahawks over them? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.